Hey, everybody. Really good to be with you today, and I hope you guys had a great summer. Hey, I want to tell you some good news, and that is I'll be working with the Phoenix Coyotes this hockey season, and I'm pretty stoked about that. I'll also be working with the Roadrunners too down here in Tucson, but I did get the call to be able to that they said I could be the chaplain for up there. So it's going to be nice for me to be able to work with the people here in the AHL and then run up there and work with the people in the NHL and see some familiar faces, hopefully. And for me, it's just a blessing to be able to be with the men and help them grow in their life and be there for them. There's so many things that I've been able to be a part of in my life, but counseling and mentoring over the last 26 years has been just one of the blessings of the ministry that I've been involved in, working with a lot of people, all kinds of things in rehab centers and just every kind of marital counseling, premarital counseling, postmarital counseling. You can always come talk to me, man. Definitely have a lot of stories to share. And it's great to be able to get with someone who's not really connected with the organization, the hockey organization, someone you could talk to, and they're not going to go talk to your coach or anything like that. So I'm always here for you guys. Hey, we want to talk about building character. That's important. I mean, gosh, I want to build character, but it takes time and it does take a lot of effort. Just like in building muscles when you're working out or training for a run or training for swim, whatever you're doing, it takes time and it takes a lot of effort and a lot of pressure. You find that in order for metal to be purified, it needs to be heated up. And through that pressure of heat, that trial of fire, then there's an outcome of purity and an awesome production. So when you think about anything that's produced, it comes underneath pressure and trials. And James writes in the New Testament book, chapter 1, he says this, and he's writing to the persecuted church. And I tell you what, you think your life is kind of a bummer, or you think you're down about something, and there's always things to be kind of bummed about. Our world is a crazy world, and if you ever want to talk about the world, we can talk about that too. We all have many thoughts on what's going on, but perspective sometimes is everything. And sometimes I think of the trials I go through, and then I read about what goes on in the world with the persecuted church. And just the other day I was reading about how many Nigerians were killed over the last year. 5,678 Christian Nigerians were killed, murdered by attacks from Boko Haram, different other clans, and ISIS affiliates in Nigeria, and just absolutely horrible stories. Can you believe that? 5,678 people in 1 year slaughtered just because of their faith. Kids left homeless, mothers taken, raped, mutilated, children molested, men killed. Just absolutely horrid situation. And this happens not just in Nigeria. This happens all over the world. And sometimes we don't realize what goes on and how religious persecution is taking its effect in the world. But James is writing to people in his day and age that were facing religious persecution. Persecution is right for being Christians. See, Judaism was a protected religion in Rome. Rome oppressed the Jews during the time of Jesus. And when Jesus died and rose again, and his followers went out to share about this salvation that was free of charge, man. You didn't even have to do anything for it other than trust in the Messiah's death for you. Um, it was that radical of a message where you had all these people just were like, yes, I'll take that, man. I need salvation. And when this was happening, the Romans saw this new kind of work, this new thing going on. And so it kind of uh, there was a Jewish split. The Christians were all Jewish, but what happened was as they started trusting in Christ for their salvation, Jesus for their salvation, history shows that Rome saw these Christians they called them the Way, and these people of the Way were no longer a part, they thought, of Judaism. And so they became a persecuted sect, a persecuted group, no longer protected under Judaism. And so the Romans went after the church. Not only that, but the Jews went after their own fellow countrymen, their own fellow Jewish people that were believing in Jesus. So it was a really crazy time in that day. You think our time's a little nuts. Man, back then it was wild too. But hear what James says. Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles of any kind come upon you, consider it an opportunity for great joy. So when that pressure comes in your life, it says consider it an opportunity for great joy. Why? Because you know that your faith is being tested. And like anything that's going to produce something awesome, it's going to come under pressure. It's going to come under a trial. And so it's kind of cool that we're going through it because that means we know something's cool on the other side. On the flip side, we know there's something that is being produced in us that is pretty cool. And that's why we're going through it. That's why God would take you through something. It's not because he doesn't like you. It's because he can't wait to see you complete the test, man, to complete the time of, the pressure to see what the outcome is going to be. He knows what that outcome's going to be, but he knows you're going to be delighted in it, and your family will be delighted in it, and your friends will be delighted in it. The character that is being built in you as you go through the trial that you need to go through. And there's many things. I remember being in a huge earthquake. FEMA came in. I was on the epicenter of the earthquake, me and my spouse, and our firstborn was in the womb, and our place was devastated. And it was so scary, so radical to see people dying, to see the tragedy of it all. It just was, man, the pressure on you just was immense. I couldn't even comprehend everything that was going on in that week. It was just unreal. But God was producing things in me. I think of times in my life where I grew up with a dad who was an alcoholic, who was a domestic violent home. Seeing my mom get hit all the time, seeing a lot of violence like that, feeling the pressure as a child, being scared as a child. And you know what? God took that and the pressure of it all, and there was things that were being produced in me, teaching me, helping me, teaching me so many different lessons that helped me later on down the road. There's things that we can learn from in everything. And that's if we choose not to learn from things, that's when we get into the mess. That's when we choose the wrong path. But when we stop and take a step back and we go, hey, you know what? God is going to produce something really cool in me. I want to learn. Help me to learn. And so many events in my life, just tons of them where God, there's so many trials. And it wasn't until I considered it an opportunity for great joy, knowing that the fruit it was going to produce, that it finally clicked. Like, hey, you know what? Let me go through this with a different kind of heart now, knowing that God's not against me, he's for me. And he's going to produce something in me that's far greater than even I want to be. God has the best for me in mind when I don't even have the best for me in mind. So it says, for you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. When you're lifting weights, man, you're pumping iron. You know that, you keep going even through that pain, right? To get those last few reps in, enduring, knowing that your muscles have a chance to grow. Learning how to do sports, learning how to practice things meticulously, learning how to think through things so that you can endure and that you have a chance to grow. In anything of learning, there's always a lot of, like a baby, you're learning how to walk and you stumble so many times learning how to walk. I I remember my son and daughter just fall down, get back up, fall down, get back up. Right? And then as they get older, they learn how to ride a bike, fall down, get back up. They learn how to skateboard, fall down, get back up. I was trying to teach my brother surfing last month, and because I grew up, as you guys know, in California, and I grew up surfing, and I lived in Hawaii, on the island of Kauai too, when I was 19. And but I tried to teach him, and he's never surfed. And I left my brother when I was 14. That's another story. But man, trying to teach him to surf was hard. It was like a little baby, man. He'd get up, fall, get up, fall, and he just got up on his knees. It was like, oh, get up on his knees, right? But you got to keep doing it, because when you endure, you face the pressure and you get through that pressure, then you grow. And so let it grow for when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. And then you get to the other side and you find what James is saying is there's a maturity. There's that idea of complete is the idea of mature growth, right? You find that you're mature, that you're no longer needing anything. That you find that there's something in you that has completed you, that there's something in you that is satisfying as you've walked through the trial and you got to the other side. Um, and man, that is important to learn, for sure. So just think of a life where you didn't endure trials. Just think of a life that if you didn't endure anything. What if you worked out, and what is it like if someone doesn't endure? What is it like when you start a sport and you don't endure? I was a pro guitar player. What is it like when you play guitar and you don't put your effort into it? You really don't. What kind of guitar playing are you going to do? Or what kind of guitar player are you going to be? Right? It's like, what if you never endure? See, the fruit of it is awesome, because then you learn things that when you look back on it and you go, man, I'm so glad I learned that. It's like second nature now, what I'm doing. It's like, man, I'm complete. I've kind of, I feel I'm satisfied. I feel like I've learned and it's become a part of me. And man, that's beautiful. You're in a tough marriage, learn to endure. Learn how to humble yourself. Learn how to consider it joy that there's a testing in your life, your profession life, whatever's going on. Maybe you have to endure some trial. You endure the trial. There's a character quality that is need to be built up in us that is really important for our future. And the ultimate thing in our life is we want to please God, and we want to be like Christ. Christ was awesome. Man, what an awesome, awesome character. And think of the pressure he went through, the endurance that he went through um, on that cross, and suffering and dying for us, the endurance that he went through. But what did it produce? It produced a whole host of righteousness, a whole host of salvation, a whole host of love, for God so loved the whole world that he gave his only begotten Son. See, there's a wonderful fruit of endurance. And we see it every day in people's lives. Those people that run and swim and they're just, doing everything. But you gotta endure, and then things become, you kind of get this new nature through it all. And the fruit of it is amazing. And so this is what James is talking about, even to those who are being persecuted. He says troubles are going to come your way, but you know that as your faith is being tested and tried, that it's being refined, and that you're having a chance to grow. There's something that you're being made into that's great. And remember that when you go through extreme trials like these people in Nigeria and the violence they go through, knowing that they're going to become mature and they're going to receive something far greater than any of those people that are persecuting them. For they're going to receive something that's eternal, and they're not going to need anything. And they're going to be absolutely complete in what God is producing through all those trials. So, it's camp time, hockey time, and there's always going to be trials and grueling things you guys got to get through and endure it with joy, knowing there is things that are being produced in you through them as you trust in God and commit your ways to him. So, hey, it's good to be with you. You guys have a great one. I look forward to some more videos as the season gets going, okay? You take care. Bye-bye.